back to Auction TV. I'm Karin from Harcourts in Birkenhead, and I'm here today to talk to you about some misconceptions about auctions, as well as the process of auction and how it's a really positive method of sale. The other day on Facebook, I saw a comment where somebody had put up they were looking to sell their house by auction and they were wanting recommendations or suggestions from other people online. Very interesting, some of the preconceptions of people out there in regards to auctions at the moment. Shall we go through a few of those? Auction is for lazy agents. Stay away from any agent that pushes for auction. It's for their benefit and not yours. Auctions are a waste of time. Don't trust an agent. A good agent will step vendors through the different methods of sale, including auction. But auction is a really good process as well as a method of sale. There is a misconception that auctions are for lazy agents and that we're going to rip people off. Well, at Harcourts, we don't do that. The auction campaign is actually a more active way for an agent to work because they're gaining feedback from the buyers that are coming through the open homes and the viewings and passing that on to the vendors to help them set their reserve price. However, if your property doesn't sell under the hammer, it means that you have life after auction. You've already had some of the market come through and you've had some really positive feedback in regards to price and how your property presents. There's a misconception that the auctioneer only shows up on the day of the auction to sell the house under the hammer. A good auctioneer will be involved in the entire campaign. They will understand what the property is made up of. They might show up at an open home to come and meet the buyers and do a walkthrough. The auctioneer will have a meeting with the vendor and the agent prior to auction day to set a strategy for that day. They'll explain how things may play out on auction day and the different strategies that might come into play. They'll also help the vendors come to a point where they set their reserve and explain to them that obviously they're in control of the process. They can change that reserve anytime up until the auction and even during the auction. So that's how we say they have control of the process right throughout. The second part is the auction itself, where the auctioneer will call for bids. You'll have registered buyers there. They will bid. If the bidding slows down and the property pauses for negotiation, the auctioneer will then negotiate between the highest bidder and the vendors to see if they can come to any agreement on price. If they do, then it will either be brought back into the room, put on the market at that price, and more bids will be called for, although sometimes it can be sold outside the room. So that's why it's really important to make sure if you're bidding, you always hold the highest bid. If the bids are flowing along nicely and the reserve is met, the auctioneer will call the property on the market, and they'll keep taking those bids until they get to a point where we have a final bid. The property will sell under the hammer. If the property doesn't sell under the hammer, the third part of the process can come into play, where the property can then go into a priced campaign or priced by negotiation. And what we're seeing at the moment is there are a lot of unconditional people waiting to see if a property passes in so that they can then go into placing a conditional offer on the property. They may be conditional to still getting their finance signed off or wanting to get a building inspection or other legal due diligence complete. A good agent will continue to communicate with all the interested parties, whether they're conditional or unconditional, during the campaign. The auctioneer is still involved in the process if the property passes in. We're there to help the branch manager and the agent with any negotiation that needs to take place on the day of the auction as well as into the future. I hope today has helped you understand a little bit more about the process of an auction and how it can help your vendors get a really positive price for their property. If you've got any further questions about auctions, feel free to contact any of our Harcourts auctioneers. They're really helpful. They'll step you through the process, answer any questions you might have, and if you're lucky, they might even come on a listing presentation with you.